Welcome back. We go to West Africa now, where life in Cameroon's two English-speaking provinces has been brought to a standstill by 3 years of conflict, which has cost about 3,000 lives and displaced 500 others from their homes. The dispute had been simmering for decades, but boiled over in 2016 when teachers and lawyers started to protest against the use of French in schools and in courts. Well, the government in the majority French-speaking country responded with lethal force, provoking rebels to declare independence for the region they call Ambazonia, which in turn led to an even stronger military crackdown. In an attempt to end the crisis, President Paul Biya called for talks, dubbed the National Dialogue. And joining us in studio now to tell us more about the political crisis and the dialogue process is the Vice President of Ambazonia, Dabney Yerima. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Thanks for coming through.
It's my pleasure.
All right, so this is actually a long, protracted story, but perhaps become more visible to the outside world in recent times, 2017, and the violence that we've seen, particularly in the last 3 years. But one would say that this has been a long time coming.
Yes, it is, because we are two states of equal status. La République du Cameroon had her independence on the 1st of January 1960. And we had our independence on the 1st of October 1961. So the problem, a lot of people foresaw it coming because we don't know why the decolonization process of both countries were incomplete. So as a result, there was a union that resulted into a Federal Republic of Cameroon.
But the Anglophone citizens in a plebiscite voted to be federated with the French part of the country. Was that perhaps what they shouldn't have done? But I guess at that time you could not have seen the future.
Well, they were tricked into it because the government of La République du Cameroon just invaded our territory and asked all administrators to move to Yaoundé. So we, and even some of our leaders at that time, cried foul, like Ndele, saying it was not necessary for us to join French Cameroon because we were just coming from Sèvres, where we had about 3 or 4 prime ministers, a democracy of our own, and our police and our House of Assembly. So a lot of people, even like the late Fond of Bafut at the time, even said we should not go into that union because it's just like you're going into fire, and that is what we're experiencing right now.
So what has been life like for English-speaking Cameroonians over the years, particularly up until 2017?
I think it's just been, when you are annexed, you suffer repression. And that is what they've been suffering all this while. Take, for instance, when the lawyers and the teachers stood up to fight for their basic rights, well, they were encountered with live bullets. But if that happens in the Francophone region, then they either, if there's a demonstration of any kind, they come with tear gas. They don't want to kill their citizens. But ours are those that they want to slaughter, like what is going on right now. And so far, more than 22,500 of our citizens have been killed. 365 villages burned down. We have more than 3,000 of our citizens locked up in jail in La République du Cameroon. And our leader, the leader of the revolution, Siseko Ayuk Tabe, and his cabinet were abducted in Nigeria and taken back to La République du Cameroon.
All right, so the president called for a national dialogue. They talked about giving special status to the English-speaking parts of the country. Is that not a gain?
It is not. That is nothing. It's a non-starter. What rights has La République du Cameroon as an independent state to give special status to another independent state? I think that is an abuse of human rights and a slap to our face. But we have refused any special status because it's a non-starter. We will continue to fight for the restoration of our independence. That is the decision our people have taken. It's a choice our people have taken. And we are going to fight to the end. And that is why we are looking, trying to create alliances now and calling on the international community to send for a fact-finding mission to the Cameroons so that they can get the true fact of what is happening. We know that some members of some international organizations have been there. Well, they returned with their trophies from the President of the Republic of Cameroon, and they didn't come out with any report as to what is going on down there. And I believe that when they get that report, then they will know what steps to take to see that.
Is there no middle ground? I mean, you know, I think one of the challenges had been that whilst you were federated in 1961, that over the years, the true nature of federation really hasn't been enjoyed. What if the government, the French-speaking government, says we will devolve more power to you, but as a federal part of Cameroon?
I believe the president of La République du Cameroon said it a few months ago in France, that they were busy with their assimilation process and they see that it cannot work because they were trying to change us from who we are. So you cannot change us. We must live to our full potential and give our children and citizens the same opportunity like any other citizens in the world. So there is no middle ground. The thing is, we need to go to the root cause of the problem, which is incomplete decolonization. And when we can go there, we are open to go on the dialogue table and talk about the future of these two countries.
So as far as you're concerned, being part of French-speaking Cameroon is a non-starter, you're an independent country. Ambazonia, tell us about that name. Where does it come from and what does it mean?
Well, Ambazonia, well, the country is the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon, but because it's closer to Amba Bay, so they got the name Ambazonia.
Right.
Yeah, from it. So we have our international boundaries, and they are still there. If you go to our territory, they are still there.
All right. These are 1961 boundaries,
yes,
aren't they?
Yes, 1961 boundaries.
All right. So for you, there's no other end game except for full independence and international recognition at the United Nations, and as far as that.
That's correct. And we are open to negotiate, and we call on the international community to facilitate dialogue between the two countries, so that we can decide, the people should decide on the future of both countries.
Yeah. What has South Africa said and the African Union?
Well, I believe the African Union has been doing a little or nothing because they are being controlled by France. But South Africa, I've met, during my visit, I've met a lot of wonderful South Africans who have encouraged us, told us their story, and they are willing to work with us. I was opportune to attend the 4th Congress of the SABC party. I met with the leadership, who are even, some of them are ministers in the government. So they are willing that we can work together. They would love to play an advisory role, and we asked them that they could use their partners, maybe in the AU and in the United Nations, to ask for a fact-finding mission.
But, okay, we're running out of time, but very final question. There are some that accuse you actually of being violent, being terrorists yourself. We're reading reports of English-speaking candidates in next year's elections resigning because their houses are being burnt by separatists.
Well, that is not true. We did not declare war on La République du Cameroon. La République declared war on our people. And we had nothing to do but to fight back. So self-defense is our natural human right. We're just defending our property and defending our people and our territory.
Are all English-speaking people behind you, or some are with the French-speaking?
I'll say majority. Some are enablers for the French authority because that is where they get their daily bread from. So they are using them to infiltrate our cause and destabilize it, but it's not going to work because majority are fighting with us.
Mr. Yerima, in fact, Vice President Yerima, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very, very much indeed for your time. We hope to have another conversation with you just to check on the progress of what's happening. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
It's my pleasure.